Hi friends, we are back. I am Naomi from EJ's Fun Crafty, Miss aka Mrs. Craft Lady, and we are here with another amazing and fun interview from a really cool creator.
Mrs. Craft Lady! What did you do?
Let's welcome Angie Holden from Country Chic Cottage. Woo! Hey Angie, thanks for coming on with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I am like over the moon excited to do this. So I know we'll have fun today.
Yay, I know we will too. So I like love Country Chic Cottage. I do. I mean, I was following your YouTube before I even knew who you really were. I was like, this lady is cool. She's got some really informative YouTube videos. So it makes me happy that I get to talk to you today.
Yeah, thank you. I work like super hard and I've been doing this like 10 years or more. So yeah. So I definitely put in some hours.
Well, you know what? It shows and it's paying off. It's paying off big for you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your crafting background.
So I really started crafting like super young. My mom was, like into crafts in the 80s. And I kind of started with more like cross stitch and stuff like that as a young
Hmm.
child growing up. And then I was into sewing a little bit for a few years in my 20s, but I just kind of put crafting down and then kind of picked it up as a way to more like spruce up my home on a budget, like during the recession. And it just sort of like blossomed from there into being more creative and sharing my creativity on a blog and YouTube. And then I just kind of realized people were actually paying attention. So decided to, put some effort into it.
What made you realize people were paying attention?
Just that, like I started a blog more
Hmm.
of a like I wanted to spruce up my home and I just wanted something to be accountable. Like it was a New Year's resolution. And, a lot of times you're just like, February comes and you're done. So it was like more like something to keep me accountable. And then I'd go ahead and start the social medias to go with that. Right. So I'm like posting there and then people are like commenting and they really like this and sharing it. And I'm like, wow. And then as it progressed, it kind of grew from there, and I realized that it could actually be a sustainable source of income for me, and I could do it full time. And then I started putting more effort into it after that.
That's cool because it happened organically. It's something that you like to doing anyway, and it just kind of more. It wasn't like you were trying to be this grand crafter lady that everybody knew. It was you were doing it for yourself.
Yes, and I didn't even realize that this was something I would even be good at, I guess. So my degree is in engineering, and I was an
Oh wow.
engineer at the time. I was working as a project manager for a company. So like totally different from crafting and being a
Yeah.
blogger and creative things, completely different. And then that was kind of like my creative outlet for a while. And I realized that I was in fact really good at it. And I think, a lot of my YouTube videos compare this to this or something
Yes.
like that. And I think that's a little bit of my engineering background coming in
Right.
there because I need to know what all the products do and show you.
And I think that's what drew me in because I like the way things work too. I'm an early childhood educator, early elementary, and I mean, my brain, that's how my brain works. That's how I teach my kids from that standpoint, right? Let's compare things. Let's do our Venn diagrams, and okay, how do we know this is better than this one, or is our? And so I think that's what I loved about your videos is that I could trust what you said because of the comparisons you made. I think
Yeah,
that's
like I totally will just show it. Like here are A, B, and C, and I like C better, but maybe you like the way B looks on the video. That go ahead, buy B.
And I think that's what I like too, is that you were so honest, like, well, this is what I like, but if you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah, that like I'm always really open and honest, and I try to be open and honest even if it's a sponsored something. Like, these are the things I like about it, but these are the things I wish they would have done a little bit different because there
Right.
are always those things, right? Like it's not perfect.
Exactly. Exactly. So you talked about your cross stitching and your sewing and then your home decor. There are so many different things you do. I mean, recently, well, not super recently, but I know you do a lot of sublimation, and I learned a lot of my sublimation techniques from you watching your videos, right? What's your favorite thing to do right now?
I would say it's a tie between Cricut crafts and sublimation stuff. I I enjoy them both.
Woohoo!
I like doing them both, but yeah. So my love of sublimation though came from Cricut because they came out with
Yeah.
infusible ink, and like it was so cool. Like it's awesome. And then you're like, well, what else could I do with this? And could I do pictures? Well, not with infusible ink, but is there a way to do that? There is. And so it just kind of like spiraled from Cricut, but it definitely came from that.
And I see, and now I know why I was so drawn to you. Also, so those are my two favorite as well. I mean, I've been sublimating like crazy lately, and it was even before the super sublimation craze started. I run out. I was I got the mugs and the regular little mug, the cup press, the cradle press, and just trying little things here and there. But then you're right, invisible ink set it off for a lot of people, and so
Yeah, absolutely.
that
So before Infeasible Ink, someone local was asking me some questions about crafting, and they were like, "Have you ever heard of this cool thing called sublimation?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And so she was explaining it, and I like had to go online and like Google it and look it up. And I was like, "Boy, that seems so cool." And then like Infeasible Ink hit, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, no, definitely."
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I tell people all the time, I think infusible ink is an affordable option if you don't have the printer, you don't have the budget, or you don't have the desire to do big things, the pen, all of that. I think it is a really good. But like you said too, that's enough. Like my sisters, it was enough to push them into wanting to do a little bit more with the actual sublimation.
Yeah, I think it's a great introduction, and like I just want to do a few things. Infeasible Ink's great, but it does push you into wanting to do a little bit more
It
and spend a little
does.
bit more money because you want the printer and the blanks and all this stuff. So yeah, it does like push you into a little bit more there.
So is your studio like mine? Is your Cricut and your sublimation taking over? Like, do you have like a separate corner for everything?
Yeah, so I just redid my studio
Hmm.
and did like a tour on it on YouTube like last week
Hmm.
because it was completely flopped. So I usually work on this side of my room, and all my Cricut and sublimation stuff were on the other side of my room because when I did the studio the first time, I was painting more or whatever.
Hmm.
And as I'm like, okay, I really love Cricut crafts, I'm going to do more of those, and then I'm going to get a sublimation printer, and all the stuff ended up on that side of the room. So I was constantly like walking around the table and dragging things around, and I was like, this has got to stop. So yeah, I just completely did my redo my room, and this corner over here is all Cricut and sublimation.
Fun, fun. And those are the two things I have in my garage, I have other stuff, you're right. So I have my turners and stuff, but I do have my sublimation oven in there and my heat press only because that's where I have space right now. But yeah, I get you with the whole, okay, I'm gonna cut everything right here on my Cricut, then I gotta run over here and do this, but we make it work because this is what we love
Yes,
to do.
yes.
What's your favorite home decor project you ever did?
Oh, that's a hard question. Let's see. I have maybe a couple things. So I have a sign in my bathroom that I made, and it was when the Cricut Joy first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how it could do big stuff, even though it was like this little bitty machine, right? And I was
Right.
like, well, I'm going to do something huge. And I made this huge sign with that Joy, and it is like one of my favorite pieces ever. And I literally did it with the little bitty machine and the like smart vinyl or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's probably my top one. Um, for sublimation, I would say the photo mugs. Like anything with a
Mm-hmm.
picture of my grandkids on it gets me every time.
Yeah.
And like putting the photo on the mugs is like that just stole my heart, and that was really like the reason I started with the sublimation printer was the ability to print photos and put their photos on cute little things. So yeah,
Yeah, that personalization and yeah, photos do take it to another level. How
yeah.
fun. Those sound really fun. So tell us about country. How long have you been using your Cricut before I ask you the next question?
So I didn't get into Silhouette or Cricut until after I started my blog. So I started my blog like 2010, like
Okay.
January 2010, I think. And I got a Silhouette first. So I got a Silhouette in like 2011, and it was because someone gave it to me or sold it to
Hmm.
me for a little bit of money or something. And I used it for like a year, and then found Cricut, and I this. I kept the silhouette for several years, but I bought a dust cover for it because that's how little I used it. And so I just went down, had the dust cover on it, and eventually I was like, I'm just gonna give this away. So I gave it to somebody else. I thought about going back and trying again, like getting the latest and greatest silhouette. Like people keep talking about it. Has it changed? And we talked about my brain. I have to know. I have
Yeah.
to know because I know that many years ago I liked Cricut better, but do I still? So like my brain keeps thinking, do I need to buy another one?
My husband recently last weekend, in fact, he took me. He's like a this huge thrift shopper, pawn shop guy. He does really good. He took me to a pawn shop and says, "I want you to go in and look at something." So it was a Cameo Pro, the big Cameo Pro. It was a really good price too. And he goes, "Okay, what do you think?" I go, "I'm thinking, I think I might want to try it, but I'm not sure."
I would totally get it for a good price. Totally get it.
We slept on it, and I told him, "You know what? I'd rather just get another. Can you just get me a Explorer 3? Because I didn't have the Explorer 3 yet." And he's looking at me like, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah, because I know how to use it, and I know I will use it, and I'll put it to use. I would hate to get that one, and then even though it's a great price, and I'm thinking, well, what all would I use it for? Would I really put it to use?"
And then the really big one, I saw it on TikTok and she had
Hmm.
to buy like this huge cart for it and it was so big. And then the mat that she had to go with that thing, I was like, I don't know where I would put it. Like that's the one I would
Right.
probably want to try, but I don't it's so big.
But like you said, our brains are like, okay, I do I want to see what's different about this, but at the same time, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
you know
feel
what?
you.
Buy me a Peloton bike instead.
Yeah.
So tell me about Country Chic Cottage. You talked about your blog starting. Did you start your blog as Country Chic Cottage, or did you kind of get there?
No. I've never changed my name and I probably should. So my crafts now are very far from anything country chic or farmhouse style. Like they're very, very far. But as a person, like my home is very
Mhm.
farmhouse style. So the rest of my
Gotcha.
home, beside this room, is very farmhouse style. It's what I enjoy. But my blog has sort of ventured away from that. So I did start it as the Country Chic Cottage. I had a friend. She was a blogger at the time. She had been doing it a few years, and she was a cottage name. So and
Okay.
I was just like, I'm gonna pick a different cottage name, and I like country chic type stuff, like rustic.
Hmm.
So picked it. Never have changed it.
And I can imagine at this point, changing your name would, I don't know. I don't think people, because we all know you for that. I mean, that's how we know
I
you.
know.
Even though we
I
don't
know.
see any of, like you said, in your crafting right now, the country or chic, the country chic, I should say, the cottage, but we know that's you.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
think
like,
that's a
I go
struggle.
back and forth all the time. I like wake up one morning and I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to change my name. And then the next day I'm like, no, no, I'm not. Yeah. So I've started putting like Angie Holden, which over here,
I
on
love
more
that.
stuff, like my real name. And I own angieholden.com. Put it in, it redirects to my website. So, I mean, it's there if I want to do it, but I don't know.
So I'm looking at your wall. I'm loving the Angie Holden sign, the colors, all of it. And then on the other side, we see your YouTube plaque. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it took me 10 years to get the silver plaque. And if you don't know, the silver plaque is 100,000 on YouTube.
100,000. Yeah.
It took me 10 years to get there. So it was in, it was in 2020. And at the beginning of the year, I was like, I am going to set this insane goal. I was nowhere near 100,000, nowhere near. And I was like, this goal is insane. I'm going to set a goal 100,000 by the end of the year. Like I'm going to set it. And on December 30th, I hit 100,000.
No way. Oh my goodness.
It was that close, and I never thought I could do it. Set a crazy goal, just working towards it. A few things helped. So, like YouTube did a feature on me, which like blew
Oh
up
wow.
my channel all at one time. So that that totally made up the difference and made me get that goal. But yeah. So then after I reached 100,000 in 1 year, I reached 200,000 just
Oh
last
wow.
year. So I was like, what was I doing for the first 9 years?
We were learning. You were learning.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure what I was doing.
I saw yesterday, I saw a reel and somebody was like when I look at my first YouTube, they're like, "What were you doing?"
My first video, I think I hid it from view. It's that bad. It should just have been. Instagram stories weren't a thing. It was 10 years
Yeah.
ago, 11 years ago now. So Instagram stories wasn't a thing, but it totally should have been an Instagram story. It was like me filming with my phone in the wrong direction, a box of things that someone
Yes.
sent me. And it didn't show my face. You could hear my kids in the background. Like, it was horrible. It was a TikTok maybe. Probably not. Like, it was horrible. And I think I've hidden it because it was that bad. I was that embarrassed. I was
You gotta send it to me because it can't be worse than I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Yeah, every day I ask myself, what are you doing, Naomi?
But like, everyone starts somewhere. Like,
Mhm.
totally. Like, you. And if I hadn't started the channel, I would never be where I am today. So, like, people get held
Yes.
back. Like, I need the perfect camera. I need the perfect microphone. No, you don't. Like, I had my phone and I just filmed some stuff and I put it up unedited. I didn't even know how to edit things.
Yeah.
It's okay. You start somewhere and you figure things out as you go.
And I think that's the great part is when we can look back and see progress. Because if we're waiting for perfection or we hide all of our mistakes first, we don't see that we've actually how far we've come. And so
Yes.
I think, and other people don't see that. Other people think that, well, she's perfect or no, no, she's not. Tell me what a typical day looks like for you.
Typical day. So I am 100% a morning person. I am very productive in the morning. So I get
Mhm.
up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
I eat like super quick breakfast and then I start in. And I do my computer stuff in the morning because like it's dark and like the kids are asleep
Hmm.
or whatever. So I do a lot of my computer stuff, but I'm super productive, I find, in those hours. So I just,
Hmm.
get all that done. And then like mid morning or so, like I jump in the shower and then I'll either like start filming some video or doing a project, maybe eat some lunch. And it just depends on the day, but my days a lot of times are long. I mean, it's nothing for me to probably go till 5 o'clock. But my kids are older, so my youngest is 16. So it's
Okay.
not like it's not like they need attention. And a lot of times he's not even home before 5. So it's not like he's worried about what I'm doing. So if like no one else is home or like we live on a farm, we live on 100 acres. So
Hmm.
my husband will get home and he'll go out and do like some farm stuff. And so if no one's in the house, I just feel like I might as well just work. So a lot of times I work kind of late.
So, how do you balance that? Your work. Do you have trouble balancing your work into your person, like finding time for you? Is that hard for you?
Um, yes, I am not the best at finding time for myself, and it is totally my personality. I
Hmm.
just almost would rather work sometimes, but I do try to like in the evenings. I turn everything off, like set the computer aside, and then like we sit and we have dinner and we watch television or whatever. So I do try to at least have that time, and I
Hmm.
do take depending on the season, most weekends, I
Hmm.
don't do a ton with my blog and website. I might like have a special project I'm working on, and then I might fit some of that into the weekends. But a lot of times, the weekends, I don't even open my computer.
That's good. That's good. You got to
Yeah,
set yourself some personal boundaries for
yeah,
ourselves.
because it's hard when like this is upstairs in my house, and my laptop is sitting right there when I'm on the
Yeah.
couch. So it's hard like not to just get overwhelmed and just do it all the time.
Angie, thank you for sharing your time with us this morning. Where can we find you and how can we support you? I mean,
I mean,
200,000 followers. How can we support you?
all the support on YouTube is amazing. Like, follow me, like my videos, watch my videos. That's like all I ever ask of people. That is support enough for me, and hopefully that allows me to keep bringing amazing content every single week. And yeah, so that's about it. And if you have any, I also take suggestions from viewers. Like if you are like, I've always wondered how this product works, like
Uh-huh.
send me a message because I've probably always wondered that too. And if enough people wonder it, I just go ahead and make a video about it.
Awesome listening to your audience. Well, thank you again. So we are are we the Country Chic Cottage or just Country Chic Cottage?
It's it's on social media. This is another confusing thing. See that this is why I need to change my name. Okay, social media, it's Country Chic Cottage. You could just Google Angie Holden, all that comes up. And the website is thecountrychiccottage.net.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Thanks again for being with us. Everybody, please, please, please go check out Angie's work everywhere. Everywhere. She's everywhere. You can find her. And we look forward to talking to you again later. Thanks, Angie.
Thank you for having me.